So let me share this one that I think it might be a little too personal in the sense that the duet that we are about to talk, to discuss, to share today really has to do with me in a sense. I was younger because many years, many decades ago, I was younger, and I recall that one day I heard a duet because I used to listen to a radio program every Sunday. I remember every Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. AM radio. Just picture that in your minds. AM radio, Sundays, a teenager listening or waiting for the Sundays afternoon in order to be able to listen to an opera program on the radio. And I recall them playing this duet. Those years I was not so familiar with the opera. My love for opera was just starting. And I recall that they presented the voice of a tenor under the name of Jussi Björling, which of course I had a very hard time in understanding that name. So it was Jussi Björling singing along with Robert Merrill, and the duet that was announced was the duet au fond du temple saint, a duet from the opera The Pearl's Fishers. And I recall what I keep in my mind is that the beauty of that sound captured me from the beginning and told myself, if only I could do that. If only I was able to produce at least half of the beautiful sounds that I heard. And so for many years, it was left engraved in my mind. Those were the days that the internet was not available, so it was not like you just go to YouTube, download it, and replay it, and replay it, and replay it. So I kept that memory in my mind, and so when I got my first job, or not the first, but when I started working, few couple of years later, when I had enough money to do it, I got myself a copy of the original score of this Pearl Fisher's duet, which in fact, if you go to Ko-fi, you will find a post and the image of my score, my original score, which I still keep and that I love so much. Not because I rehearsed singing that duet, but because of what that means to me. I remember the time I had the opportunity of having that score in my mind and going back in my mind again on the beautiful sounds of the voice of Jussi Björling and Robert Merrill singing it. And I recall that when I had it in my hands, I told myself, so this is what it looks like. This is what the score actually looks like, and that's how it feels to have those beautiful pages of music written by Maestro Bizet in my hands. This is a duet that I have kept for so long in my mind and that I would like to share with you now. I'm not sharing with you the version of Jussi Björling and Robert Merrill. Provided that it is a studio, it will have copyright restrictions, and I don't want 80% of the world being unable to listen to that. So if you want to go ahead and look for it, I think it is available on internet. Not sure if in Spotify, but you can always look for it. Au fond du temple sang, the Pearl Fishers duet, in the voice of Jussi Björling and Robert Merrill. Today, I looked for other options, and the truth is that I went for a number of them. The worst that I heard was in the voice of Rolando Villazón and Plácido Domingo, not because of Rolando, because in those days I think Rolando was singing well, but Plácido Domingo was still trying to be a baritone, which with a very horrible result. So don't go for that one. And there is another one for Alfredo Kraus and another baritone that I forgot his name. But I'm not so satisfied with the voice of the baritone. But I am choosing, or I am selecting to share with you this one that I am now presenting on the screen, the version of Alfredo Kraus, I think he's already over his 60s. And Sherrill Milnes, the famous American baritone, going for this one. I have to confess something. The first part is very weak. Um, the sound of Alfredo is not very good at the beginning. He even gets lost in part of the words of what he's saying. At that time, I told myself, oh my gosh, this is a complete waste of time. But it wasn't. In fact, it really, really, really gets better. And I am about to share so that you can hear the part that I think it's just genius in the hands of the composer maestro Georges Bizet. And I think it is worth to share a little about the difficulties of this duet. This duet is perfection in the match of the voices, and at the same time it's very challenging because when the tenor has to go high in the notes of what is written for him, he has to go high without sounding way too dramatic or without passing all over the baritone, or that the baritone increases his volume so that nobody can hear the tenor. It's just that Maestro Bizet wrote something so perfect that only two artists who decide to make their voices match can achieve something memorable. There are many versions out there where the tenor really doesn't make it, or he does make it, but the baritone is not does not have an elegant line of singing, so it sounds horrible, the part of the baritone, or the other way around. The baritone is doing well while the tenor really doesn't understand what he's doing on the stage. So to find a good balance between the two, it's very hard to find. And at some point, I think that Alfredo, Kraus, and Sherrill Mines achieve it. This melody, and if you had the opportunity of listening to our episode in the podcast in the season of Parlons de, when I talk about the Pearl Fishers, I say that the complete opera, it's like a dream. The music that surrounds not only this duet, but Nadir's aria and the soprano's aria, it's like you're flowing from a dream, from that those imaginary lands, and Maestro Bizet transports you in that beauty. And there is drama, but it's a drama so full inside in the beauty of the music that you really don't feel like the horrible emotion of drama, but it is, if you allow me the expression, it is sort of a beautiful drama. And the words "Oui c'est-elle, c'est la déesse" fall in this duet so beautifully that I really think this is one of the most, if not the most beautiful duet ever written for the voice of a tenor and a baritone. Usually this part is cut. This little growth in the drama is usually cut and go back for the repetition of the first part. Chaleur s'allume, ta main refuse ma main, non que rien ne nous sépare, et nous change en ennemi. Non que rien ne nous sépare. No, nothing will separate us. We will always be friends. Jurons de rester amis. And we go back to the melody we have shared before we settle. So we promise to be together to continue being friends until death reaches us both.